Today I am here with the 2020 Lexus NX F Sport, and this one's in beautiful Matador red mica. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the styling, and we have a nice beautiful darkened chrome that covers the entire spindle grille with the mesh pattern. We'll take a tour of the cabin. Not only do you have Apple CarPlay, but you finally have Android Auto. We'll take it out on a beautiful stroll in freezing Nebraska. Tell you some things I like about the car. It's magic, what can I say? And things that I don't like so much about it. It's not really up to Lexus standards, so let's jump into it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Luxurious Fleet and hit that bell icon so you won't miss any breaking news or reviews in the future. Special thanks to Lexus of Omaha for providing this stellar NX F Sport. You can find them in the link in the description below, and let's get this video rolling. Personally, I've always loved the styling of the NX F Sport. This might be the first one I've ever seen in this Matador red mica. Now, the lights you see here, these are the standard headlights. They are super bright, they're gonna be great. I personally love the triple beams. You guys know how much I love those triple beam headlights. The thing is that these are becoming more and more popular, more and more increasingly popular on the NX. Seeing those optional triple beams have been exceedingly rare in the 2018 through 2020 models. For some reason, they showed up more in the 2015 to 2017 models, but they have been absent in recent years unless you get a luxury package or you custom order those triple beam headlights. The grille, same old mesh pattern, looks stunning, and we have a nice beautiful darkened chrome that covers the entire spindle grille with the mesh pattern. You have these big pieces of plastic here on the side which have kind of grown on me. I'm still not the biggest fan of them, but they do add to the overall grille-ness of the Lexus. And then this bottom lip here is beautiful as always, and I think it's one of the better looking sport packages in the entire Lexus lineup. So NX always looking sharp in the F Sport package. Now the 18-inch wheels haven't changed since 2018. It would be nice to have the 19-inch wheels standard on the F Sport package. I think that would really set it over the top. To get those 19-inch wheels, you're gonna have to fork out, if I remember correctly, around $3 grand. But these look good, they just don't look as good as those 19-inch forged alloy wheels. The styling on the rear of the NX, I think, has always been very attractive, whether it's in the F Sport trim or not. These taillights are still stunning. I think they look better than the UX's, but I love how the UX's taillights go all the way across. So if you don't know, the UX is the baby brother to this NX. The exhaust tips look great, and they all have these exhaust tips whether you get the F Sport package or not. Now, you do miss them on the hybrid version of this car. You won't have these visible exhaust tips or enclosures over them. Now, something that we see all the time on the NXs is this handy feature here. Forward kick, backward kick. It opens the hatch for you. And then when you're ready to close it, let's say you have a bunch of bags in your hand, like I have a lot of camera bags in there. Just do the same thing, forward and back, right in the middle. It's magic, what can I say? Now in the back of the NX, there's actually a good amount of space. This is a very stiff tonneau cover. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It feels a little cheap in my opinion, but it gets the job done. Most people just take it out because it's not flexible, and it does diminish the amount of cargo space you have. Now you can see here in the back that I have a few bags. I have one of my camera bags, a second camera bag, and then a Mavic Mini in here, which I got my drone shots with, which I hope you guys like. That was the first time I've ever used drone shots in a review before. But there's still a lot of space, and we have this nice F Sport NX mat in here, and then underneath this camera bag are going to be the F Sport NX mats that would go in the front and the back seats. Now on the inside of the NX F Sport, it's a very different experience than the standard NX. And the big reason is because of these awesome F Sport seats. They are gorgeous, they are stunning, they are of the highest quality materials, the patterning, the stitching, everything is perfect about them, except I'm a very skinny person. I have a 32-inch waist, and the seats right at the hips confine you. And I understand what bolstering should do, but it shouldn't squeeze your hips and not your legs as much. The bolstering of the top is also super tight, and I am, like I said, a very skinny guy, and these seats are just a little too small. If you remember my UX review, I talk about how the UX's seats are a little bit more comfortable than even the NX's, and they felt bigger. So if you are my size or smaller, these F-Sport seats would probably work for you. If you're bigger, you're probably gonna have to opt for the non-F-Sport NX. I just love all these small touches, typical Lexus quality, that the dash here is fully wrapped in synthetic leather. Awesome stitching here on the dash. Now this trim is something that I wish that it wasn't plastic. It's not really up to Lexus standards in my opinion, and they haven't changed it too much over the years. So it would have been nice to have a nice beautiful dark wood that we see like in the ES. The ES is about the same price point as an NX, so I'm not sure why the ES gets the wood and the NX gets the plastic. Now the steering wheel is phenomenal, fully leather all the way around. Unlike the UX, the steering wheel up top is not heated. It's only heated on the sides, and that is something that kind of plagued a lot of the older Lexus models. Lexus is getting to a point where you see in the LS, the UX, the ES, it's fully heated all the way around the steering wheel. Although the heater is good on here, the UX's heated steering wheel, I think it's the best heated steering wheel in all Lexus. We have this nice F-Sport badge here, and then if you look below, you have these cool F-Sport aluminum pedals as well, and then you have, of course, paddle shifters in this model. Now you see this little dial down here. It says ASC. ASC stands for Active Sound Control. When you drive this with a little bit of gusto, you're going to hear sound ported through the speakers in this vehicle. Now you can get the Mark Levinson sound system in the 2020 NX. It wasn't available in America on the 19s and prior. However, that's probably only going to be seen with triple beams and a luxury package that is really, really rare unless you get a custom ordered NX. The same 10-inch screen we've had for a long time now, since 2018. It's not that long, but it is beautiful, and this updated software is the Generation 11, which just came out for the first time with the 2020 RX. And this car, after October, they got the same software update. So that means not only do you have Apple CarPlay, but you finally have Android Auto in the most recent builds of the Lexus NX. The trim here on the side is a little cheap. Again, how cool would it have been if they just left it black plastic? Wood trim would have been over the top, probably way too expensive for them to do with a design like this, but this plastic here doesn't scream luxury to me. But how ergonomic are these controls? I think they're some of the best in all the Lexus vehicles, to be honest. The auto button and the AC, the heated and ventilated seats are all in the greatest spot possible. I have no issues, and it's real easy. You can see how this kind of protrudes here. All the controls are super easy to get to, whether it's a radio controls, climate controls, soft touch all the way around the dash and the interior of the NX. This plastic behind the steering wheel is the only hard plastic on the dash other than this trim here. So super high quality in the NX. Now the only thing with that climate control that I wish was up here would be the heated steering wheel button. The heated steering wheel button is actually all the way down here in this corner, this bottom corner. Heated steering wheel, then your panoramic view camera, which, guys, panoramic view camera, it's been available on the NX since 2018, but we really haven't seen it put in a lot of models. So the fact that they're starting to put it in more models is not just exclusive to the F-Sport package. We're seeing it in the premium navigation packages now. And let's press this button. It's really awesome that we're finally getting some of the technology that we've been seeing on the RX trickle down into the NX now. Sitting in the back seat of the NX is always enjoyable. I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'1", and I have so much leg room. Even if I've sat behind someone who's 6'6", and I still had a good amount of leg room in this vehicle. So always impressed. And the seats also recline. I love this is a very nappable vehicle. This passes the nap test. And the seats, again, are the same beautiful quality in the back as they are in the front, so no droppage of quality, and these are definitely more comfortable than the front seats. Now we have a couple cup holders here, no big deal, very comfortable, nice fold out armrest. But the Achilles heel of this vehicle, as I'm coming out of the shadows like Darth Sidious, ridiculous thing about this vehicle in the back seat in a modern Lexus, there's no connectivity. There's no USB ports. There's not even a 12 volt. And that to me is unacceptable. They should be able to outfit this vehicle with some USBs back here. That's not asking too much in a luxury vehicle in 2020. But if you're rarely going to have people back here charging their things, now of course you could run it from the armrest here. There are USB ports in the armrest, but there's 4 people in the car and there's only 2 USB ports. So just a missed opportunity from Lexus to not fit the 2020 NX with some connectivity. And we're off in this bright sunny morning here in 2020. It's 2020 already, guys, so happy new year if you're seeing this in the beginning of the year. I am right now in a super rough parking lot. As you can probably see, the camera move just a little bit, and I am just testing out how this car handles in a rough, or just how it drives in rough situations. This road it's not a road, it's a unpaved parking lot full of rivets, and it's really quiet, and it's handling these bumps really well. And that's something I usually don't do in Lexus vehicles. Most people, even though they get 4x4 Lexuses, they hardly ever use that off-road capability that they're capable of. And you know, that's just a parking lot, but it did pretty well. Now, this being the F Sport model, it has what's called Sport Plus to it. It stiffens the suspension and it makes the whole driving experience a little bit more on edge. And if I put my foot down, this thing goes, and it has good traction with the all-wheel drive. Now, you can get the F Sport in front-wheel drive, but I've never seen it. It's probably pretty rare. This thing is super impressive with how much torque it makes. This has about 260 pound-feet of torque, and that makes this little 4-cylinder well matched for this vehicle. It doesn't need to downshift a whole lot. And speaking of downshifting, this still has the 6-speed automatic transmission that we see in like the GS RC all-wheel drive models, and the IS has it as well. And this is my favorite Lexus transmission, maybe other than the LC's 10-speed, but it is awesome. It picks the gears, it's snappy, it is very decisive, and you don't have to wait for gear hunting or anything like that. Now, I have the active sound control all the way up, so once we get out to the road here, I'm gonna give it a little bit of gas so you guys can get an idea of what this active sound control is like at full throttle here. And the roads are really wet, so I'm spinning all 4 wheels, which is impressive, right? Because this thing only has about 235 horsepower, but like I was saying, the torque is very, very impressive. Now, I know I was talking about how the seats are a little small, and you only notice it right when you get in. And this is just something that's unique to the F Sport. Like I said, the bottom cushion is just so tight. It confines you, but once you sit in it for more than a minute, you forget about it. Unless, I mean, that's just me personally. If you're bigger than me, if you have a wider hips, then this thing is probably gonna be a constant reminder. But here we go, we're gonna hit that full throttle. Great downshifts. There's 70. And that was straight uphill. I don't feel like this thing is underpowered in any sense of the imagination. Now, I know its competitors like the Acura RDX and the Infiniti QX50 do have a little bit more power, but the only time I feel like you would use that power would be in passing situations, and this thing still has good passing power. So now that this car seems to be pretty much fully updated in this current generation, meaning this model has been out, the NX has been out since 2014. It was a 2015 model, it came in 2014, and there hasn't been a whole lot of changes. It still uses the same motors. The interior has had very, very little changes. The styling has changed very little over the years. The blind spot monitor button is down here, and in the more updated Lexus models, you turn it on through the menu behind the steering wheel. And so it's really hard to tell in some of the models, the NX being one of them, that haven't been updated in a while, that the blind spot monitor button is way off in a random spot compared to where it should be behind the steering wheel. In the RX, for example, blind spot monitor BSM will light up bright green when it's on the instrument cluster. Well, here you have to look up all the way down here, if you know where it's at, to find out that it's on. Heated steering wheel button is also in a strange place down here by my left knee. It turns on the heated steering wheel just fine, but you can't see the button. I can't see it at all from here. It's in the dark, it's in the shadows. Those buttons, although they do light up at night, in the day you still can't see them. The UX and the ES both have that heated steering wheel button right by their heated seat button. That makes so much sense to me, but unfortunately it's way on the other side of the cabin, essentially. Now, a lot of people don't like the ride of the NX because the RX is a smoother ride, and that's true. The RX has a longer wheelbase, it's a bigger vehicle. I still love how the NX drives. I think it's a better city vehicle. If you're going on long trips a lot and you have if you put people in the back seat all the time and you need to carry lots of stuff, the RX is probably going to be a better fit for you. But if you're driving mostly in town or short freeway runs, I think the NX is a better driving vehicle. It is easier to maneuver, it's more responsive, handles better, it's quick, it's nimble, and it's super easy to park, especially now that the 2020 models are coming more and more often equipped with that 360 panoramic camera. Speaking of panoramic, the NX still is not available with a panoramic sunroof, and I feel like although most people don't care about sunroofs too much, I feel like that's an opportunity that its competitors have taken. The RDX comes standard with a panoramic sunroof, and the QX50 has an optional panoramic sunroof. So it's unfortunate, and of course all the BMW and the Mercedes are going to have a panoramic sunroof too. So how many times can I say panoramic sunroof? Too much. But it would have been super nice if they were to update the NX at some point within this current model to accept a panoramic sunroof. And I've heard in other markets around the world that the NX does have a panoramic sunroof. I don't know if that's true or not, but it would have been super, super nice if we had one in here. The ES has one, the RX has one. This is one of those top 3 selling vehicles for Lexus, and the fact that it's missing what I would call a very common luxury option in the panoramic sunroof is they dropped the ball on that one. Just like they dropped the ball on the rear USB ports. There aren't any, which is just a sad thing. But despite it being a little bit long in the tooth, not too long, and despite a few of the shortcomings, this vehicle would fit most people's needs and do it better than any car they've ever owned. I love the NX. I love the 4-cylinder turbo in here. The fuel economy is good. The power is good. The technology in here is good. I still think the styling on the outside is gorgeous. I think it looks better than the 2020 RX. It just got a refresh. I think the only other Lexus SUV that looks as good as this would be an F-Sport Lexus UX 200 or 250 hybrid. So wrapping things up, I just want to thank Lexus of Omaha again for providing this awesome F-Sport NX for the video today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for more Toyota and Lexus news and reviews. And if you're in the market for an NX, definitely check it out. It is a near perfect vehicle for Lexus for the subcompact SUV luxury market. If they put a panoramic sunroof in it and threw USBs in the back for the passengers, I would be in heaven. But it doesn't. So, but that just gives something Lexus to improve upon. And my last closing note here is that if the NX does come out with a new model this year in 2020, it's going to be phenomenal because this vehicle is already pretty darn good. And if they give it, and the rumor is they're going to give it the plug-in hybrid powertrain from the upcoming RAV4 Prime, which has over 300 horsepower and 0 to 60 in the upper 5s. This vehicle is going to be alone at the top of the luxury subcompact crossover market. Nothing's going to touch it. It's going to have the most efficiency, it's going to have the most power, it's going to have the most luxury and updated technology. It will be the newest model when it comes out. So I'm super excited. If it comes out this year, if it comes out a year later, this one is still going to be able to carry the torch just fine for the subcompact market for Lexus. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.